is that if you are given some information and they ask you some questions, you can, or they give you some information, you can actually write an equation utilizing the information given for a line that is parallel to what you've been given using that point, or perpendicular to what you've been given using that point, okay? And that's what example 4 starts with, okay? It starts with this, and I'm going to use a little bit of what the book says, but a different examples. Find an equation in standard form of another line. So they're calling this L1, and that's a different line. That is through the given point, whatever the point is they've given us, and parallel to the original line. Okay, L is the original line. They want you to find another line using the point they've given you that is parallel to that. All right, so let me give you some points. The point is 1, 2, and the original line was x plus y is equal to 4. X plus y is equal to 4. All right, first and foremost, I am going to first take this and convert it into y equals mx plus b form to get the slope. Okay? I want to get the slope. And this one's not going to be too hard. This one, I'll subtract x, and I get y is equal to negative 1x plus 4, which means the slope of the line they gave me, negative 1. This is a lot of steps. So we want, according to this, another line parallel to, which means having the same slope. Parallel to, but going through that point. Parallel to the original line, same slope, but going through that point. So what that means is I can take point slope form, plug in the slope and the set of points that they want me to use, and get a new line. Okay, so first I got slope of original line. Second, use slope and points to design the new line. And I'm going to use point slope form. That's y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. There's my slope. There are my xy's. So here we go. Y minus y1 is equal to x minus x1. And it says in standard form. So that means I've got to take all this and convert it to ax plus by equals c, standard form. I'm converting it to standard form because that's what they want. So I'll start that up. Y minus 2 equals negative x plus 1. I would like my x to be positive. X plus y equals 3 is the line that is using those points and parallel to that. Using these points and parallel to that. It's kind of funny. 1 plus 2 does equal 3, doesn't it? If I were to check my original points. So you can check by plugging in your original points. And indeed it does work. And the slope is the opposite of a over b. In this form, negative 1 over 1. So you got a negative 1, and that matches that. More than anything, this is going to take practice. Because that's only part A of this scenario. The other thing they might ask you, okay, this is A, I think I just wrote on my skin. The other thing they might ask you, using the same stuff, 1, 2, and x plus y equals 4, 1, 2, x plus y equals 4. They might say to you, and this is B in your example 4, same information, but instead of a parallel line, they want a perpendicular line. Instead of a parallel line, they want a perpendicular line. To do that, take the points and the opposite reciprocal of the slope that you just got through finding. Opposite reciprocal slope. And start plugging it in. So the slope, I can't remember, was, what was it? Negative 1 over 1? So negative 1 over 1's reciprocal is still 1 over 1. But it's positive opposite. Okay, positive would be opposite. So this is what I have now. Opposite reciprocal is positive 1 over 1. This will be your slope of the perpendicular line that goes through the points they gave you. Okay, this line is perpendicular to that line, but going through those points instead. So take your slope, take your points, and it'll look like this. Y minus y1 is equal to 1 x minus x1. Put it in standard form. I'm going to subtract my y. Wait. Before I do that, I don't want to make a mess. Y minus 2 equals 1, so that's x minus 1. I'm going to keep my x positive, move my y, add my 1, add my 1. Negative 1 is equal to x minus y. If you want to test your points, is 1 minus 2 negative 1? Yes. And in standard form, the opposite of a over b is slope. Is 1 divided by negative 1's opposite that? Yes. So that is how we've established that. This is one of the toughest lessons of the whole year, I'm sorry to say. So I'm going to move on here a little bit and just give you a little more detail. Parallel lines, same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. Knowing that fact can be helpful in some of this. Look at the oral exercises on page 120. I want to do a few of these with you, and then we're going to do a little bit more. Look at number 15, oral. It says, give the slope of any line that is parallel with this line and perpendicular with this line. Parallel has same slope. So what will it be? What will the slope of a parallel line to this line be? Yep. Perpendicular, opposite reciprocal, right? What is the opposite of -2? +2. What's +2's reciprocal? This is the slope of any line parallel to this line. This is the slope of any line perpendicular to that line. With 16, they give you a little bit of work to do ahead of it. Y is equal to 5 multiplied by x plus 1. So y is equal to 5x plus 5. Parallel. Give me a parallel line's slope. Perpendicular. -1/5. Okay. Even if I give it to you in standard form, as in ax plus by equals c form. First, let's get the slope out of this. In this form, slope is equal to a divided by b's opposite. So 1 divided by -3, which is -1/3, it's opposite. What's -1/3's opposite? Negative's opposite. Not reciprocal. Opposite. +1/3. Very good. So in this form, slope is the opposite of whatever a divided by b is. A divided by b is this, which I just rewrote, floating that out here. -1/3's opposite is +1/3's opposite. So a parallel line would be 1/3. A perpendicular line would be -3. Opposite, reciprocal. If you're given lines, multiple lines, and I'm going to go to the top of page 121 for a second. If you're given multiple lines and you are asked to say if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, you know something's parallel when it has the same slope, and it's perpendicular if it's opposite reciprocal. It's neither if neither of those things fits. Yep. So looking at number 19, are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Before I do anything, I want to get them in the same form. Or I want to interpret slope based on what I have. For this one, I already know slope is 1. This one, it's 1, -1, but the opposite of that, which is a +1. Do they have the same slope? So these two lines are indeed parallel. How about this one? This is actually the number 23 in the oral. 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. 3x minus 2y is equal to 6. I'm going to do the opposite of a over b. The opposite of 2/3. That's this one's slope. The opposite of 3 over -2 That's this line's slope. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Perp. Good. Positive, negative, so that's opposite. 2/3, 3/2 reciprocal. Three x minus y is equal to 6, and x minus 3y is equal to 6. Opposite of a over b, opposite of 3 over negative 1. So opposite of negative 3 is a positive 3. Slope for that line. Opposite of 1 over negative 3. So it's negative 1/3, so it's positive 1/3. Tricky. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Parallel, same. Perpendicular, opposite and reciprocal, or neither? Are they the same? It's neither. They are not. They are reciprocal, but since they're both positive, they're not opposite. That one's neither. Okay, I want to do one more where you're actually practicing getting a parallel line and getting a perpendicular line. Okay, that's what I started this all out. If I give you this point and this original line, and I say to you, write an equation for a line that is parallel to this, in other words, having the same slope, but goes through this. Step 1, get the slope of the original line. I'm just going to say opposite of A divided by B. Opposite of 1 divided by 1. So would you guys agree to me that the slope of this line is negative 1? Yes or no? Okay. So if I want this slope using these points, I can point slope form, inserting this for m, 0 for x, 3 for y. Y minus y is equal to negative 1 for slope, x minus that. Put it in standard form. That times that is 0. I'm going to move my x, move my 3. X plus y is equal to 3. This line is parallel to, this little symbol means parallel to the original line. Once I have this, making a perpendicular line is easy. Opposite reciprocal. So, and that's weird when it's a 1, because the opposite is positive, but its reciprocal is still 1. Okay? So a parallel line will have m equaling opposite reciprocal, which is 1. This using the points. So here's my parallel line. Now we're going to get our perpendicular line. Y minus 3 equals 1, x minus 0. Y minus 3 equals x. Subtract your y over. Negative 3 equals x minus y is your perpendicular line using the points they gave you. Get your slope, plug in the points, create your parallel line. Opposite reciprocal slope, use your points to create your perpendicular line. This actually happens to be, I think, number 31. This is number 31. Let's do number 35. And this will be the last one.
Teachers and students, these are the results so far with all the pre-K and elementary classes voting for the election. 69 for Trump, 29 for Clinton, 17 for Johnson, and 14 for Stein.
14 for who? Sign? Sunny? Oh, Stein, okay. X plus, sorry, 2y. All right, first thing I want to do is get the slope. I am creating a new line that is parallel to this, but goes through these points. See, this line does not go through these points. Slope of this, opposite of A over B. There's the slope, am I right? Y minus y1 is equal to slope x minus x. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And they want it in standard form, don't they? Standard form not only wants x to be positive, but it wants x to be a whole number. So I'm going to add a 1/2 x, which is 1/2 x plus y equals 1. Multiply everything by 2 to clear my fractions. And this is the slope for the line parallel to the original. Parallel to the original. X plus 2y is 2. Now, take this, get me its opposite reciprocal to get the perpendicular line. What will the perpendicular line's slope be? Opposite of negative is? Reciprocal of a 1/2. There's the new slope. This is the parallel line slope. This is the perpendicular line slope. Plug in the points and the new slope. Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x. Y equals 2x minus 4. Let's keep everything positive, moving accordingly. 4 equals 2x minus y is the perpendicular equation to the original. 2x minus y is 4. Had to just verify that I had it right. Okay.